Hey, my brother, you ready to preach some more?
Yes, I know
I hated to put that
how
on you about
much
the
more
graduation stuff.
He is
Well, Lord, I thank you, man. I thank you. I had kind of rebellious past years. I've been thinking about it, so I just really thank you.
Amen. All
So
right.
I'm holding
All
to this
right, baby.
thread
All
of
right.
hope.
Perfect, man. Perfect.
And then
I will be still
I don't
and
know what we're gonna do
know
about that.
well,
I think we're gonna have. I think we're gonna have
that
gonna
God
have
knows me
have a little song fest
inside
maybe
and
tonight,
out.
and maybe get a
So
little bit of
why should I doubt
yeah.
now?
But we'll decide. We'll figure that out.
I'm gonna trust the one that
All right,
holds
buddy.
my
I'm ready for you.
heart
I'm ready for you, brother.
and tells me,
Proud of you, buddy.
oh, he tells me I am the healer when you need a touch. I am the mender when life comes undone. That's a promise, so don't give up. The deeper the pain, the stronger the love.
Still hear her voice on the telephone, catching me up on all the goings on of my hometown.
All right, good morning. What a beautiful, beautiful morning. It's the day the Lord hath made. What are we going to do about that? We're to rejoice and be glad in it. Who's glad to be here this morning? Thank God that He's given us the ability to rise up out of our beds, eat a little breakfast. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But, no, I'm fine. But I'm glad the Lord has woke me up and gave me an appetite where folks, listen to me. There's a lot of people would love to be able to rise up out of bed and feel like coming to the house of God. And I'm so thankful that we have that He's blessed us enough with that. Now, we're going to continue our studies. 1 Samuel chapter 18, the life of David. Last week, the familiar story of David versus Goliath. Actually, it was Jehovah God versus Goliath. And David, of course, acknowledged that as God delivered him from the lion and from the bear. He said, He will deliver me from this Philistine, uncircumcised Philistine, and He did exactly that. And as it goes, David became a part of the court, more or less, of Saul, King Saul. King Saul thought a lot of David. The whole court thought the whole kingdom was absolutely drawn to David because of his reputation, not only of slaying the giant, but they knew that he was a man of God and knew he dealt wisely. We're going to see his character here and what it meant to live for God when even bad things are happening. Now, you know, as a child of God, we know people are watching us, right? And they're watching us when we are testifying of our Lord, and when we're living right, and when we're doing right, and they're seeing all that, and they're making, matter of fact, they're making sure, they're watching you to make sure you're doing that, because the first time you mess up, or the first time you show yourself, or the first time you begin something bad happens in your life, and they see you falling apart, they're watching you then too. And that's when God needs to show forth in your life more than any other time. And David had that ability of his character, to mind God, to be obedient to God's will, his wisdom, matter of fact, the wisdom, the decision we make, wisdom only comes from God. And David showed that wisdom through his life, and it drew people to him. Now, it says that it came to pass, verse 1, chapter 8, and it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David. And Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword and to his bow and to his girdle. Now, after the victory of Goliath, Saul the king took David and moved him into the palace. David was, before going from the palace back to watching the sheep and on and off again, but now Saul took David, and he was going to be in the service of King Saul in the palace. David was there all the time. As I said, even before the Goliath thing, David was in there. Remember, he'd play the harp or play the music when King Saul, the evil spirit, came upon him, and it comforted him. Well, David had spent a lot of time, and he had made a lot of relationships. And one relationship he made, a great friendship with the son of Saul, the prince, the one next heir to the throne. His name was Jonathan. And Jonathan, it says, loved David as his own soul. He loved, it also says that his soul was knit with the soul of David. Now, what that tells me is this. But before Jonathan and David, they formed a covenant friendship. Jonathan loved him, as said, his own soul. He was willing to die for David. His soul was knit with David. His soul being knit with David tells me that just like David, he knew God, and his love and his desire was the same as David, was for God. So they had this wonderful friendship, and as a sign of their friendship, Jonathan gave to David his clothes and his armor, his coat, his armor coat, his sword, his bow, his girdle. This was a custom back in the ancient time. This was a custom that showed true friendship. And as a matter of fact, you know, here I said Jonathan. Jonathan is the prince of Israel. He's next in line to the throne. When something happened to Saul, this son Jonathan was going to take the throne. But you see not one bit of jealousness, one bit of anything in Jonathan. Matter of fact, by giving these things over to David, it was actually, he was symbolizing, Jonathan, I believe, was symbolizing his fortune, that he was going to forfeit the throne because he knew David was God's man. Now, that's saying a whole lot. You know, like I said, Jonathan, you know, here he is, a prince in next in line, and here comes David. But Jonathan knows through their friendship, because they, you know, true friends can tell anybody anything, right? They could, hey, friends, I don't think we realize the importance when we're looking at this friendship of David and Jonathan. It's a really good, it'd be really good to apply this type of friendship and to have the friendships that Jonathan and David had. We all want friends, right? We all have good friends. But what is a friend? A friend's somebody, you know what a friend, ultimately what a friend is somebody you can be yourself around. A friend is somebody you don't have to put on any kind of, you don't have to do anything. You can be yourself if it's a friend. They don't want you to be, your friend don't want you to be any better. He don't want you to be any worse. With a good friend, you don't have to be on your guard. You can say what you think. Your friends understand those contradictions in your life, those contradictions in your nature that has other people misjudging you and saying, oh, they might misjudge you. A friend won't do that. A friend understands. You don't have to be careful when you're with a friend. Listen to this. this is the fact. A true friend can sometimes abuse us, can sometimes use us in ways, sometimes neglect us. But it doesn't make any difference because through it all, they love you. They understand. You can weep with them. You can cry with them. You can sing with them. You can laugh with them. You can pray with them. Through it all, they see, they know, and they love you. What is a friend? Friend is someone you can be yourself with. And that's what the relationship they had, David and Jonathan. You know, sadly to say, the degenerate culture that we live in, and the degenerate society and commentators that we have will put David and Jonathan, when they read this, and they will say that they were in a homosexual relationship. That's how degenerate this world is to try to do. It had nothing to do. They loved each other. They were friends. They loved one another. They was willing to do anything, die for one another. Now, and David went out. The Bible says this friendship was such it was. Verse 5 says, and David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his 1,000, and David his 10,000. Now, God has got David. You see how God is working in David's life. He's got him there in the palace. He's seeing all the workings of King Saul. He's seeing how he handles this. King Saul puts him in the head or a commander in the military. I mean, he's getting to be around people. The people love him. They're looking at him. He's seeing how he's seeing the political part of what it takes to run a country. God has put him exactly where he needs to put him. But not only did Jonathan love and accept David, but King Saul at this time also loved him, also welcomed him, and he wanted to be around him all the time. Saul kept David at the court with him at all times. As I said, he's learning all these things. He gave David a military duty, which the Bible said, which we see that David carried them all out with success. And because of all of David's accomplishments, he became a commander in the army. Not the general. Abner was the general, but he became very, very high-ranking commander in the army. Now, all these victories, all these successes that David had, he was making a contribution to the well-being, to the security. The people knew that David was one keeping them safe. David and his army was the one keeping the people safe. And the people, not only in the army, the fellow soldiers that were under his command, but the people were very, very pleased with David. And wherever Saul sent him, it didn't matter if it was a job that was something for a high-ranking official, or it might have been cleaning out the latrines, whatever it was. Wherever Saul sent David, David was obedient and cooperated with Saul. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And one of the most significant statements of all is that David, through everything, David behaved himself wisely. Now, what that's saying is, now David's a young man. Here he is in the court palace. Man, here he is being treated like the prince. Here he is, the commander of an army. All the soldiers are adoring him, telling him how great a commander he is. All the ladies are crooning for him. He's got it made. He's got it made. But through all these things, all this stuff happening in life, he said he behaved himself wisely. You know what that means? There wasn't an ounce of conceit or arrogance or pride, or he didn't feel better than anybody. He still knew where he came from. He still knew he was just a shepherd boy. We're going to see that later on here. Now, his bravery as well as the wisdom that he got from God as a soldier caused Saul to set him over the men of war. As I said, he became a commander. And as they went out and they fought their battles, and Saul the king being there at the battle site with David, as the kings they were always there at the battle, and they marched. As they were marching back home from another fight with the Philistines, when they were marching home from the front, they had to pass through all these villages in Israel and through all these little cities. And when they would do that, when the army would pass through, all the women would come out upon the streets, and they began to sing out, and they sung out something that was very disturbing to Saul. They sung out, "Saul has slain his thousands, but David has slew his 10,000s." Now,